CTMT classes, as we were discussing yesterday about the first chapter, and we have started that first chapter yesterday. Ingredients of concrete in that cement we are discussing. We discussed about the definition of cement, and also we discussed about the manufacturing process. And the manufacturing process we discussed in general. We have not gone in depth with the two types of manufacturing process, that is wet process and dry process. So those two processes we will discuss in detail about. We will discuss in detail today. Okay, so before going to that wet process and dry process, I want to just brush up whatever we have discussed yesterday in the yesterday's class. Okay, so cement is a binding material, okay, which is the mixture of calcareous, siliceous and argillaceous material. Okay, so cement, whichever you make any material with the help of cement, whether it is a mortar or concrete, so in those materials if you add cement, the cement will act as a binding material. Okay, in the concrete it will hold together the this one aggregates, that is fine aggregate and coarse aggregate. Even if you are preparing the mortar, it will hold together the cement and your fine aggregates together. When you are doing the construction of a wall also, it will bind those bricks together with the help of mortar. Okay, overall the cement is a binding material, and it is a mixture of calcareous, siliceous and argillaceous materials. So calcareous materials are those which contains mostly the calcium oxide, and siliceous materials are those which contain silica, and argillaceous materials are either this one clay or shale. Okay, and coming to the next point, cement is a hydraulic binder. Okay, it is a hydraulic binder. When you add water to the cement, the hydration reactions will start. Okay, hydration reactions will start, and after these hydration reactions, your cement will get hard. Okay, cement will get hard, and this cement is a finely ground inorganic material. Okay, it is a inorganic material. When it gets hard, even if you put it into the water, this cement product that you have got, the cement structure, even if you keep it underwater, it will retain its stability and strength. Okay, now coming to the manufacturing process. So India is the second largest producer in the world. Okay, India is the second largest producer of cement in the world, and it will produce around 502 million tons of cement every year. Okay, around 502 million tons of cement will be produced by India every year. That's why it contributes a lot to the Indian economy also. Okay, and the raw materials of this cement, that is calcareous material. In calcareous material we can use either limestone or chalk. Either of these two materials can be used as a calcareous material in the production of cement, and as a argillaceous material we can use clay or you can use shale, any of these two. Now coming to the locality of cement factory, if you want to set up a cement factory, we should set up in such a place, that in such a locality that the raw materials, the availability of raw materials should be there in the nearby places. Okay, this one limestone or clay should be present in the nearby places. In such a place you have to establish your cement factory. The reason for that is, if the in the nearby locality if you have these raw materials, it will avoid the far distance transportation of this raw material. Okay, when you have these raw materials in the nearby places, you will get it easily. You can avoid the long distance travel of this raw material, and you can save the much amount of traveling. And second thing is, you should establish your factory in such a place that your this one requirement of cement should be high in those places. Okay, in that place the requirement of cement should be high, so that when you complete the production of cement and your packed cement bags come out, it should be travel to a nearby places. Means the requirement of that cement in the nearby places should be more, so that you can avoid again the traveling distance. Okay, you can avoid again the long distance travel uh, for this for sending. Okay, someone is telling me to speak slowly. Fine. Okay, so whatever I told you now understood. Just I'm telling these things in fast way, because just I'm brushing up whatever we have discussed in the yesterday's class. Okay, now coming to the manufacturing process, as we have discussed yesterday, again these things also. So cement, okay, the process of manufacturing of cement consists of the grinding of raw material. Okay, the raw materials that whatever we are taking, So those raw materials will be grinded first. Okay, so those raw materials will be taken, it will be crushed, we will make a powder of those things. Okay, it will be crushed. Then according to its proportion, whatever the raw materials we are taking, according to its proportion, how much in how much amount we need, we will take those and we will mix them together. Okay, first thing is crushing them. Then second thing is according to its proportion we are mixing them. And the third process is we are burning it. Okay, so third process is we are burning it in the kiln, in the rotatory kiln, at a temperature of about 1300 to 1500 degrees Celsius. Okay, at this temperature we are burning it in the kiln. Okay, after burning, the product that you are getting is a nodular shaped clinkers. Okay, nodular shaped or round shaped, not exactly round, the size may be anything. Okay, uh, or shape may be anything. So the nodular shaped clinkers you will get. Okay, those clinkers will be crushed. Again, the fourth step you can tell as a fourth step, it will be those nodular balls or the clinkers will be crushed and made powder. Okay, then that powder will be mixed with the gypsum with around 3 to 5%. Okay, around 3 to 5% of gypsum will be added to that powder. Then the final product that you are getting is a your Portland cement. Okay, this is the manufacturing process. Okay, let me tell once again. First you are getting the raw materials. Okay, so those raw materials you are grinding it, you are making, you are crushing it. Okay, so after crushing, you are mixing the raw materials in a proper proportion. Okay, whichever the quantity of each material is required, those quantities will be taken and those will be mixed together. Then after that we are sending it to the kiln, rotatory kiln, in which it will be burnt at a temperature of about 1300 to 1500 degrees Celsius. Okay, so after burning, those raw material will get fused and it will form nodular shaped clinkers. Okay, so those clinkers will be taken and again those clinkers will be crushed and made powder, and that powder will be mixed with the 3 to 5% of gypsum. Okay, then the final product that you are getting is your Portland cement. Okay, now there are two processes. Okay, there are two processes of manufacturing, that is wet process and dry process. Okay, so in the manufacturing process that I explained you just now. Okay, just whatever I have brushed up in that, the mixing process. Okay, the second step, that is mixing. First is crushing, then mixing, then burning, then again the nodular shaped clinkers will be this one crushed, again the addition of gypsum. So this is the manufacturing process. In this manufacturing process, the mixing process, mixing of raw material process, that mixing, if it is taking in a wet condition, then that is called as a wet process. Okay, wet manufacturing process. If that mixing is done in a dry condition, then it is a dry manufacturing process. Okay, and again we have a semi dry process also. In semi dry process we are just adding around to 10 to 14% of water. Okay, whereas in the wet process we are adding about 35 to 50% of water will be added. In the dry condition we are not adding the water at all, but in a semi dry condition we are just adding around 10 to 14% of water only. Okay. So till here we have discussed in the yesterday's class. So let us start from the next thing in the today's class. Okay, for many years the wet process remained popular because of the possibility of more accurate control in the mixing of raw materials. The technique of intimate mixing of raw material in powder form was not available then. Later, the dry process gained momentum with modern development of technique of dry mixing of powdered materials using compressed air. So here it is there that for long, from many years, okay, from the many years, the wet process of mixing was very popular. Okay, and the reason behind that was the mixing and controlling of the raw materials in a wet condition was very easy. Okay, so that was the reason the wet condition was very popular, and almost all the factories were using the wet process of mixing. Okay, and one more reason of using wet process was the dry process was not easy at that time. The modern equipments that we have today and the recent developments that we have today were not available in those in those years, in those previous years. Okay, that's why the dry mixing was not easy. Okay, we were not having the techniques that we have today. So that's why the wet process was very popular in those days. But recently we have developed many techniques of mixing even in a dry condition. Okay, with the help of compressed air we can mix the powdered materials also. Okay, we can mix the powdered materials also with the help of compressed air. That is the recent developments that has came now. Okay, the dry process requires much less fuel as the materials are already in a dry state, whereas in the wet process the slurry contains about 35 to 50% of water. To dry the slurry we thus require more fuel. Okay, here in this point it is there that, okay, so in the wet condition we have around 35 to 50% of water. In the dry condition we don't have any water. Okay, that's why in the wet condition, as there is a presence of water, that too around 35 to 50% of water is there. So when you are burning, you can think first you should dry that. Okay, the slurry that is there in the wet condition and containing about 35 to 50% of water, that has to be dried first. After that you can burn, right? So in the wet condition, to dry that we require again the fuel. So that's why in the wet process for burning we require much more fuel compared to dry process. In the dry process we don't have any water content, right? It's a completely dry condition and a powdered condition. So that's why it requires very less fuel for burning the dry condition. Okay, uh, that's why in the dry condition we require less fuel compared to wet condition. Okay, in India most of the factories used the wet process. Recently a number of factories have been commissioned to employ the dry process method, which within next few years most of the cement factories will adopt dry process system. Okay, so what is happening here, the wet process was very popular in India because of the these recent developments in the techniques were not available at that time. Okay, so nowadays as we have recent developments and new techniques, and we have compressed air is the very best method of mixing in a dry condition. And as the dry condition requires less fuel, nowadays we are going towards the dry process. Okay, so yeah, the cement factories nowadays are going towards the dry process. In the coming some years the scenario will come that most of the cement factories will have the dry process of mixing. Understood? Okay. In the wet process the limestone brought from the quarry is first crushed to smaller fragments. Then it is taken to ball or tube mill where it is mixed with clay or shale as the case may be, and ground to a fine consistency of slurry with the addition of water. Okay, so let me explain you the wet process of mixing. Okay, in the wet process of mixing what we'll do, we'll bring the limestone. Okay, we'll bring the limestone which is a calcareous material. Okay, so limestone will be brought from its quarries. Okay, from the quarries we'll bring the limestone, and then this limestone will be crushed into smaller fragments, because when you will bring the limestone from its quarry, it will not be in a powder condition, it will be having some fragments, it will be in a this one, you can tell it's a like a stone type of structures, like that it will be there when you bring it from the quarry. So those will be crushed, it will be made powder, it will be made a powder. Okay, then it is taken to a ball or tube mill, and it is mixed with the clay or shale. Okay, so then as this is a calcareous material, limestone, as a calcareous material we are using the limestone. Then as a argillaceous material we can use either a shale or we can use either a or a clay. Okay, any of this will be taken. So the first the limestone will be brought, it will be crushed, then it will be mixed with the clay or shale. Okay, and then these both will be mixed together and we will form a slurry with the addition of water. Understood this much? First we are bringing the limestone, we are grounding it, okay, we are crushing it, we will make the powder of that limestone. Then that limestone will be mixed with the clay, either a clay or shale, any one of these. It will be mixed with that, and after that we are adding the water into that. We are adding around 35 to 50% of water, and we are making the slurry. What do you mean by slurry? I think you know what is slurry. Slurry is nothing but it is a liquid form. You might have for you are using this one, right? Colgate as a paste, or the any paste you are using for brushing, right? So that is the paste, and slurry is nothing but it is more liquid than the paste. Okay, the liquid content in the slurry will be more than the paste. You can understand what I mean to say is slurry. Okay, the slurry will be prepared by addition of water into the mix of limestone and shale or clay. Then the slurry is a liquid of creamy consistency with water content of about 35 to 50%, wherein particles crushed to the fineness of Indian standard sieve number 9 are held in suspension. Okay, so what is this slurry? Is nothing but this slurry is the water and the mix of that limestone and the clay, and it contains around 35 to 50% of water. And this slurry, it should the fineness of slurry, okay, the particle size of the limestone and the clay that we have, it should be the fineness, and the particle size should be in such a way that it's when you pass it from the sieve number 9, it will be held in suspension. Okay, so that slurry should be held in suspension. So till that it should have its liquidity, its fineness of the material. So sieve, I think you understood, I hope you understood what is sieve. Okay, sieve is nothing but it is a filter. Okay, it is a filter. So screener, or it can be said as a screener. You people might have seen in your homes for preparing chapati or jawar roti, you will use a you will use the screener first, so that the flour that you are using should pass through that. Okay, you will put the flour into the your screener. Okay, flour or atta you call in Hindi. You will put into that screener and you will shake it, and from the bottom it will come back, right? That floor will come from the bottom after screening. So that is called a screen, or that type of a screens will be there. Okay, or a sieve, that is that screener can be also called as a sieve. Here we will be having a very big screeners. Okay, sieve. So number 9 is nothing but the whole size in the screener. Okay, the whole size or the uh, okay, so that size is not that size number 9 should be there. Okay, so it sizes of that holes will be depends on the numbers. Okay, so as much as big you have, the number will be big. So according to that, in the sieve number 9 it should be held in suspension. Next, the slurry is pumped to the slurry tanks or basins, where it is kept in a agitating condition by means of a rotating arms with chains, or blowing compressed air from the bottom to prevent the settling of limestone and clay particle. Okay, so now you have prepared a slurry. Okay, and that slurry which is held in suspension in a sieve number 9 will be taken. Okay, then it will be sent to a tanks. Okay, tanks where it will be stored. Okay, it will be stored in the tanks, slurry tanks. And when you keep it in the slurry tank, if you don't do anything, the this slurry which contains limestone and clay will settle down at the bottom, and the water will remain at the top. Okay, so this should not happen. So that's so for that reason they will uh, from the bottom, to prevent this, they will press a compressed air. Okay, they will send a compressed air from the bottom. So when the continuously from the bottom compressed air will come into the basin, it will make it continuously rotating. Okay, that's why the clay particle and the limestone particle will remain in the complete amount of water. Okay, it will not settle down if you don't send the compressed air from the bottom. The clay particles and the lime particle will settle down at the bottom, and water will remain at the top. So prevent this, we are sending the compressed air from the bottom. Okay, the composition of the slurry is tested to give required chemical composition, and corrected periodically in the tube mill and also in the slurry tank by blending slurry from different dosages of tanks. Finally, the corrected slurry is stored in the final storage tank and kept in a homogeneous condition by the agitation of the slurry. Okay, so when you from this slurry tanks, okay, so as we have got the slurry and we have stored in the slurry tank, from that slurry tank the some amount of slurry will be taken and we will test it for the corrected composition. Okay, and the chemical composition, we'll test it for all the chemical composition. If all the chemical composition and the amount of the raw materials are proper, then it will be sent to a it will be stored in the final storage tank. Okay, it will be stored in a final storage tank, and there also it will be kept in a homogeneous condition, and the compressed air will be blown so that the slurry should remain homogeneous. Okay, then the corrected slurry is sprayed on the top on the upper end of the rotatory kiln. Against the hot heavy hanging chains, the rotatory kiln is an important component of cement factory. It is a thick steel cylinder of diameter anything from 3 meters to 8 meters, lined with refractory material. Hello, is there any doubt?
Sir,
Hello,
please explain in Hindi.
I am not able to listen you properly. Can you text me? Can you text me? I am not able to
Sir,
listen you properly. हाँ,
हिंदी में भी एक्सप्लेनेशन करो.
क्यों इंग्लिश समझ नहीं
हाँ
आ रही है
सर.
क्या?
सर थोड़ा फास्ट हो रहा है सर, हिंदी में भी एक्सप्लेन
समझती है.
करो.
अच्छा ठीक है. ओके, मैंने अब तक जितना समझाया उतना तो समझ में आया ना?
हाँ सर.
और या फिर मैं पहले से स्टार्ट करूं मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्रोसेस?
नहीं सर, अभी से स्टार्ट करो.
हाँ सर.
ओके, तो फिर ठीक है. ओके, क्या होता है इसमें? ओके, मैं यहाँ से स्टार्ट करता हूँ. वेट प्रोसेस में क्या होता है, जो लाइमस्टोन के क्वेरीज होते हैं ना, वहां से लाइमस्टोन लेके आते हैं. लाइमस्टोन कैसा है होता है, वो पाउडर फॉर्म में नहीं होता है, वो उसके स्टोन टाइप में होता है, स्टोन टाइप्स में होता है. तो वो लाइमस्टोन को लेके आते हैं, फिर उसको उसके बाद में उसको क्रश करते हैं, उसको पाउडर फॉर्म में बनाते हैं. उसके बाद वो लाइमस्टोन को जो है ना, वो क्ले या शेल के साथ मिक्स करते हैं. लाइमस्टोन को क्ले या शेल के साथ मिक्स करते हैं, फिर उसका स्लरी बनाते हैं. स्लरी कैसे बनाते हैं? उसके अंदर वो पानी मिलाते हैं. कितना? अराउंड 35 to 50% हम वाटर मिक्स करके उसका एक स्लरी बनाते हैं. ओके, फिर वो स्लरी का साइज कितना होना चाहिए, उसका फाइननेस, वो उसका फाइननेस अगर हम उसको सीव नंबर 9 से अगर पास करेंगे तो वो सस्पेंशन में होना चाहिए टॉप में. तो उस तरह से उसका स्लरी बनाते हैं. बाद में वो स्लरी जो है उसको स्लरी टैंक्स के अंदर स्टोर करते हैं. स्लरी टैंक्स होते हैं, वो स्लरी टैंक्स के अंदर वो जो स्लरी है लाइमस्टोन और क्ले का, उसको स्लरी टैंक्स के अंदर स्टोर करते हैं. फिर उसके बाद वो स्लरी टैंक्स के अंदर जस्ट हम स्टोर करेंगे तो क्या होता है, उसके अंदर जो भी लाइमस्टोन और क्ले है वो बॉटम में आके सेटल हो जाता है और टॉप में सिर्फ पानी बच जाता है. तो इसलिए तो ये कंडीशन को अवॉइड करने के लिए हम बॉटम से जो है ना एयर को कॉम्प्रेस करते हैं. कॉम्प्रेस्ड एयर को नीचे से ब्लो करते हैं. जब नीचे से टैंक के नीचे से अगर हम कॉम्प्रेस्ड एयर ब्लो करेंगे टैंक के अंदर, तो जो भी स्लरी है, जो नीचे जो सेटल होने वाला क्ले और लाइमस्टोन था, वो वापस से ऊपर चला जाएगा. ठीक है, और जो भी पूरा स्लरी है वो होमोजीनियस हो जाएगा. उसके अंदर ईच एंड अगर आप कहीं से भी उसका स्लरी लेंगे तो उसके अंदर लाइमस्टोन और क्ले का जो पार्टिकल्स है वो यूनिफॉर्म रहेगा. कहीं से भी आप ले लो, वो यूनिफॉर्म अमाउंट में हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो फिर उसके बाद वो स्लरी का जो टैंक है उसके अंदर से हम थोड़ा स्लरी लेते हैं. वो स्लरी को लेके टेस्ट करते हैं. उसका केमिकल कंपोजिशन, कि उसके अंदर जो भी रॉ मटेरियल्स है वो प्रॉपर प्रोपोर्शन में है या नहीं देखते हैं, और फिर उसका केमिकल कंपोजिशन ठीक है या नहीं देखते हैं। अगर ठीक है तो उसको फाइनल स्टोरेज टैंक के अंदर भेज देते हैं। ओके, तो उसको फाइनल स्टोरेज टैंक में भेजने के बाद वहां से फाइनल स्टोरेज टैंक के अंदर से हम उसको जो है ना रोटेटरी किल्न के अंदर स्प्रे करते हैं। ओके, रोटेटरी किल्न क्या है? वो किल्न एक सिलेंड्रिकल ट्यूब होता है, उसका डायामीटर अराउंड 3 to 8 मीटर्स होता है। उसका जो डायामीटर होता है ना रोटेटरी किल्न का, वो राउंड होता है। ओके, राउंड होता है, उसका डायामीटर अराउंड 3 to 8 मीटर्स, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द size of factory and how much amount of cement you are producing. Depending on that, the diameter will be around 3 to 8 मीटर्स। ओके, एंड हाइट, ये तो डायामीटर होगा, 3 से 8 मीटर उसका डायामीटर होगा। अब हाइट ऑफ सिलेंडर विल बी इन द रेंज ऑफ 30 मीटर्स टू 200 मीटर्स। 30 meters to 200 meters. You can imagine how much big it is. Okay, तुम सोच सकते हो कितना बड़ा होगा ये। अगर अगर तुम सोचोगे जस्ट 30 मीटर, 30 मीटर्स इफ यू टेक, 30 मीटर्स इज नथिंग बट ये 10 फ्लोर की बिल्डिंग का जो हाइट होता है, 9 फ्लोर या 10 फ्लोर, 9 फ्लोर टू 10 फ्लोर बिल्डिंग का जितना हाइट होता है, उतना हाइट ये किल्न का होता है। ओके, किल्न का हाइट उतना होता है। Just if I am talking about the 30 meter, if you think about the 200 meter, you can imagine how much will be the height of this kiln. Okay, so depending upon the amount of cement that you are producing, ये इसका जो साइज जो होता है किल्न का, वो उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है। ओके, ये किल्न के अंदर जो स्लरी है, ओके, जो फाइनली प्रिपेयर्ड स्लरी है, जो करेक्टेड अमाउंट में है, जिसका केमिकल कंपोजिशन वगैरह टेस्ट करने के बाद करेक्ट आया है, वो स्लरी को हम टॉप में से स्प्रे करते हैं किल्न के अंदर। कैसे स्प्रे करते हैं? टॉप में जो है ना, किल्न के टॉप के अंदर एक हैंगिंग चेन्स होते हैं। ओके, हैंगिंग चेन, लॉन्ग हैंगिंग चेन होते हैं, वो चेन के ऊपर से उसको स्प्रे करते हैं। और वो जो चेन है, टॉप में जो हैंगिंग चेन है, वो बहुत हॉट होता है। ओके, उसका टेम्परेचर वो बहुत ज्यादा गर्म होता है। तो जब तुम वो स्प्रे जो तुम्हारा स्लरी है, वो चेन के ऊपर से उसको बॉटम में स्प्रे करोगे, वो बिकॉज ऑफ टेम्परेचर ऑफ दैट चेन, जो टेम्परेचर है वो चेन का बहुत ज्यादा गर्म होता है, उसकी वजह से जो पानी का कंटेंट होता है स्लरी के अंदर, वो इवेपोरेट हो जाता है। समझ में आ रहा है ना? अभी मेरी हिंदी तो समझ में आ रही है ना?
हाँ सर।
हाँ सर। यस सर।
ओके, तो उसके अंदर का जो पानी का कंटेंट होता है वो इवेपोरेट हो जाता है। फिर बाद में वो जो पाउडर कंटेंट बचता है वो नीचे गिरता है। ओके, किल्न में गिरता है। और वो किल्न कैसा होता है? वो रोटेटरी होता है, वो रोटेशन में रहता है, कंटिन्यूअसली घूमता रहता है। ओके, ऑन इट्स ओन एक्सिस इट विल बी रोटेटिंग, योर रोटेटरी किल्न विल बी रोटेटिंग ऑन इट्स ओन एक्सिस। ओके, so this is the point. Next point is the slurry on being sprayed against a hot surface of the flexible chain loses moisture and becomes flakes. These flakes peel off and fall on the floor. The rotation of the rotatory kiln causes the flakes to move from the upper end towards the lower end, and the kiln subjecting itself to higher and higher temperature. ओके, so एक किल्न में क्या होता है? टॉप से हम स्लरी डाल रहे हैं चेन के ऊपर से, उसके वो चेन गर्म है तो उसका जो मॉइस्चर कंटेंट है वो इवेपोरेट हो जा रहा है। उसके बाद जो फ्रैगमेंट्स बचे हैं, फ्लेक्स जो बचे हैं स्लरी के, वो नीचे गिरते हैं किल्न के अंदर। और वो किल्न कैसा होता है? नीचे से उसको गर्म किया जाता है, किल्न को बॉटम से गर्म किया जाता है। तो बॉटम पोर्शन जो किल्न का होता है वो बहुत ज्यादा गर्म होता है कंपेयर टू टॉप पोर्शन। ओके, कंपेयर टू टॉप पोर्शन ऑफ द किल्न, द बॉटम पोर्शन विल बी वेरी इन अ हॉट कंडीशन। तो जब वो टॉप से बॉटम में ट्रैवल करता है, ओके, जो पाउडर कंटेंट जो बचा है वो जब ट्रैवल करता है तो लोअर टेम्परेचर से हायर टेम्परेचर जोन के अंदर ट्रैवल करता है। ओके, द किल इज फायर्ड फ्रॉम द लोअर एंड, द फ्यूल इज ईदर पाउडर कोल और natural gas. By the time the material rolls down to the roller and to the lower end of the rotatory kiln, the dry materials will get this one heated. Okay, so अब क्या होता है? अभी वो गर्म करने के लिए, किल्न को गर्म करने के लिए हम जो पाउडर कोल भी यूज कर सकते हैं, कोयला, पाउडर्ड कोयला यूज कर सकते हैं, या फिर कोई भी एक ऑयल या नेचुरल गैसेस यूज कर सकते हैं। ओके, सो ये प्रोसेस है इसका किल्न का। किल्न के बाद जो बाहर निकलता है, आपको पता है वो नोड्यूलर, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, मैंने बताया था तुमको, यहाँ पर है वो क्लिंकर्स। ओके, क्लिंकर्स। अब किल्न के अंदर से क्या बाहर निकलता है? नोड्यूलर टाइप ऑफ क्लिंकर्स निकलता है। वो क्लिंकर्स जो होता है वो पत्थर के जैसा होता है। ओके, वो कम्प्लीटली राउंड नहीं होता, कोई भी उसका शेप होता है, पत्थर के जैसा क्लिंकर्स बाहर निकलते हैं किल्न के अंदर से। वो बाद में उसके आगे का प्रोसेस आपको पता है, उसको क्रश करते हैं, पाउडर बनाते हैं, फिर उसके बाद में उसके अंदर 3 to 5% ऑफ जिप्सम मिलाते हैं, फिर आपका सीमेंट रेडी है। ओके, सो ये टोटली वेट प्रोसेस है। वेट प्रोसेस समझ में आ गया आपको, है ना? क्या होता है, लाइमस्टोन लाते हैं क्वेरी से, उसके साथ क्ले को मिक्स करते हैं, फिर उसके अंदर 35 to 50% ऑफ वाटर मिक्स करते हैं, फिर बाद में उसका स्लरी को है ना 9 CO नंबर 9 के अंदर से पास करते हैं। बाद में उसको है ना जो बेसिन टैंक्स होते हैं, स्लरी के टैंक्स के, उसके अंदर स्टोर करते हैं। उसके अंदर स्टोर करने के बाद बॉटम से जो है ना कंप्रेस्ड एयर प्रेस करते हैं, सो दैट योर कंप्लीट slurry should remain in a homogeneous condition। उसके बाद क्या होता है,